evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coaches Show. We are live from Mike and Ed's right here in Phoenix City, Alabama. Good evening to everyone listening to us on Magic 101.3 and watching on CTV. Frank, you okay?
Mickey Mouse ears here.
Let me help you out right here a little bit.
I'm a little incombobulated here.
Well, you made it worse.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
All
right.
Wow.
All right. So, hey, Frank. We this is what you get when you give us a week off.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, we didn't play football last Friday. I was sitting in my house looking at the ceiling about 8 o'clock, wondering what we could have been doing that night. You know,
really.
I mean, Friday night in the fall and no Red Devil football, I don't know what to do with myself. So.
It was absolutely miserable. It really was.
And you know, when you play a game like we had the previous week against Auburn, you want to keep playing because we kind of had everything come together
got a little momentum
for us towards the end of the first half, and then carried it into the second half. And when you're playing like we were playing against Auburn, you want to play as soon as you can. So it's a long season, and it's good to have a bye week in there, you know. But like I said, when you're hitting on all cylinders, like I feel like we were in the Auburn game, you want to hit somebody the next week too and keep that ball rolling. But you know, such is the case. We had the bye week, so we should be fresh. You know, to keep focused on the positive. Should be fresh coming into the Backyard Brawl. We've got the 25th edition, and I can show people on cable TV that are watching us, and you guys that are listening on the radio. You can imagine this, or you can head out to the stand and pick you up one of these. But Mark Clark, the citizen of East Alabama, Mark's been covering the Red Devils since he was in high school. He has a big spread in the Citizen this week entitled The History of the Backyard Brawl, and it's the 25th edition. We play this Friday at Smith Station. We'll talk a little bit more about tickets and stuff later on, but Mark he actually emailed me a copy of this article, and I want people to go out and grab a copy of this and enjoy it for themselves. We're not going to get into the little details of the entire thing, but Mark has seen every one of them, every snap of every one of these, as you have, Frank, and Mark's gone back and he's given an account of some of the records, some of the trivia, some of the stats. It's really good read. It's a fun read. If you're a Red Devil or a Panther, you'll enjoy reading Mark's article.
Yeah, what's so great about it is you read these articles, you recognize a lot of these names because a lot of these coaches we've got now participated in this game, so they know how important it is. I mean, there's a bunch of coaches we got participating.
Well, we'll have one of them on the show tonight, Cody Flournoy. It's a little unique situation. He's experienced the Backyard Brawl from both sides of the field, so he's played in it. He's coached on both sides of it. We're going to have him join us later in the broadcast and just get kind of a unique perspective.
Yeah, you know, the amazing thing about Coach Flournoy is they always give away the Backyard Brawl trophy every year presented to the winning team.
Yeah.
Well, the year he was a senior, he should have got the most courageous award because I guarantee you he got waylaid that night. Him and he was quarterback and played defensive back too, and I mean they put the lumber on him that night. And I gained a whole new set of respect that night for Cody because he never quit. He kept on coming back, and boy did they hit him that night. Well,
Coach Dubose is just coming into to Mike and Ed, so we're gonna have a word with him later on. But I was looking today. I was looking today, but earlier in the week we didn't have a game Friday, so I'm just going through Twitter, going through the different news feeds, trying to see what's happening around the state, focusing on our region, of course. And last week when we had our bye, Enterprise and Jeff Davis played. Enterprise remained undefeated. They had a 12-0 win over JD. Auburn and Prattville were in a region matchup where Auburn won that game 31-14. Lee beat Smith Station 42-14. And we've got everybody's back in the region again this week, with the exception being, let's see who's out. JD. JD is playing Buford, Georgia. But everyone else is in region play, including our Red Devils. We're back in action. And looking at the region, we're undefeated, but we've only played the one region game. Enterprise is on a roll. They've looked pretty good every week. They're undefeated as well. What's interesting is you've got two perennial powers in Auburn and in Prattville. And if you're looking at those two teams, Auburn's 1-1, Prattville's 0-2.
Yeah, Prattville's
at Lee. Lee's 1-0 in the region. Prattville's at Lee this week, and we're way early. But if you get a third loss, you're all looking, but out.
Yeah, you're looking at the bottom, looking up.
If you get a third loss this early, you've got to win out, number one. And then you've got, number two, you've got to hope that the right people win and lose the rest of the season. Your playoff contingency is predominantly in the hands of another school at that point in time. And keeping that in mind, you've got to keep winning.
Yeah.
So it's kind of odd when you look at the stats to see an Auburn 1-1. You see Prattville 0-2 in the region. Smiths, for that matter.
Yeah.
0-2 right now. They're facing this week in the Backyard Brawl. If they fall to our Red Devils, then they're 0-3.
Yeah.
And they're looking for region opponents to help them out later in the year.
Yeah, and the great thing about our region is the top 4 teams place. So if you get 3 losses right out of the chute, region losses, you're really, really facing a do-or-die situation every week after that. So,
and Prattville and Smith Station are going to play each other on the 30th of this month. So that's going to be a really big game for those schools. Win, lose, or draw this Friday, that's going to be a big game for those 2 schools. So,
and our game Friday night is huge. It's almost like playing family. We're so close. Our campuses are actually about 3 or 4 miles apart. And, we've got our kids. We go to church together. We play together. We play Little League together. And we're all friends. But Friday night it's going to be 48 minutes of just nothing but pure hard-nosed football, I hope. That's a good thing about Central Smith Station, Jason. It's always great sportsmanship between both teams. They've always, on the field, they've always conducted themselves with utmost respect. And I just look for it to be a good football game because I'm sure Smith Station's licking their wounds, but I'm sure they've been looking forward to this game for a while. It can make their season if they can find a way to beat us Friday night.
Oh, yeah. They beat us Friday, and I got to believe that sends a wave of momentum throughout their program. We all know how momentum works. You know, it could totally destroy a season, or it could get you on the right track.
Yeah,
so.
And I think Friday night will be the only time this year that we play on real grass, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we were talking about that earlier. Everywhere we play, the field, because Auburn's put in turf now, everywhere in our region has turf except for Smith.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I think the whole region is now turf except for Smith.
Well, the good news I got from out there, not only do they let cows graze out there, now they got some goats out there also, so the field should be in good playing shape, I hope.
Frankie Bell, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just a little joke. Hey, I love him,
there he throws the first jab. Well, okay. 25th edition, it's a rivalry. It goes back to 1992. It was the first game, and this is funny. My wife and I kind of go back and forth about this a little bit. She was in high school at Central that first game, and they did I guess fundraiser or whatever. I don't know what it was at the school, but they made T-shirts for the first one, and it wasn't being called the Backyard Brawl yet. I think the shirt said Pigskin Classic or something along those lines, but it had the Red Devil on one side, the Panther on the other, and she bought one of those shirts as a student at Central, like any good Red Devil fan would, Well, that shirt, along with a lot of other things that she has from her youth, was still at her parents' house. Her dad, a couple of Christmases ago, her dad gives me a present Christmas morning, and I open it up, and it's her shirt from high school. Her dad had come across it. He knows we do the broadcast. I'm a huge Red Devil fan, and so he's telling me the story how he came across it. Of course, as soon as I pull it out of the box, he says, "Hey, that's my shirt." I said, "Not now." He gave it to me. That box said Jason on it. It didn't say Kelly. So I have that frame, that shirt framed. It's 25 years old now.
Yeah.
It's framed and is hanging in my office up at Central High School. So I'm really proud of that. It is. We just go back and forth. It's all in good fun, but the shirt's still in the family, know. But it's just little things like that that make this special.
Hey, and this has been a great rivalry. We've had a lot of fun with it, and fortunately, we've always, for the most part, held the upper hand in it. I mean, we way, it's a lopsided rivalry. We won probably
19, and they've won 5.
Yeah, 19 and 5. So, we've we've held our own with them, and it's a lot of fun. Smith Station's been really, really competitive with us, and they've had some years out there when we won the ball game when I've left the place scratching my head thinking, how in the world we win tonight, because they were that good. But it'll be a lot of fun.
Don't know how a couple of years ago, I believe it was right before the half, I still don't know how Travion Samuel caught that pass. You remember that?
Well,
going into the end zone?
If you watched college football last Saturday or last Thursday night, I believe you played, you see how, because Travion now's catching for Louisville the same way. It's unreal. I mean, he is really, really a super athlete.
It took a minute for that one to set in on me to realize what had just happened on the field. It was one of these.
Yeah, it was one right at halftime.
We throw a Hail Mary down the home sideline, and it was Justin Ross, I believe, that went up. And, hey, I mean, if it's by design, if it was just pure, happenstance, I don't know. But Justin goes up. The ball comes off of his hand. Maybe he just bobbled it trying to make the catch. Maybe he patted it towards Trey. But Trey just right place, right time, caught it, scampered in the next 4 or 5 yards, touchdown Central. It was incredible.
And everybody will tell you, Jason, that they practice that play every day at practice. But I don't care how much you practice that thing. You got to have a lot of luck involved in that play.
Well, I've been tying my shoes since kindergarten, and every now and then I'll tie in a knot, But it all fell in place, that night. It was a couple of years ago, I believe. But so it's just part of, I guess, the mystique of the Backyard Brawl, I guess. Well, Frank, let's step aside for a 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Dubose, and we'll talk more Central Red Devil football, Magic 101.3.
May I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to the Coach's Show. Magic 101.3 CTV. We're joined by the head coach of the Red Devil program now, Coach Jamie Dubose. And Coach, we got the Backyard Brawl this Friday, a region game, one of our biggest rivals. Big crowd expected to be there. Frank, we didn't talk about the crowd. The fire marshals have put a 4,000-person cap on the stadium there. From those 4,000 tickets being sold, 1,500 were given to Central to sell. We're still selling those at the high school. You can still pick them up. I talked to Mr. Vickers, the principal of the school, right before we came on the air. He says we probably have a couple of hundred left. Once those sell out, we're out. That's it. There's likely not going to be any available at the gate. I don't know. I just know we were given our allotment to sell, and we've been selling them all week. So you'll save yourself some time by stopping by the school, if possible, and buying that ticket. Just go to the main office. They can help you out. And then you'll be there, have your seat guaranteed for the game this Friday. Coach, we're coming off the bye week. We talked a little bit about this last week, I guess, but when you have – it'll be 2 weeks since we played come this Friday. It changes the schedule a little bit for the guys, but I guess this week we're back in the regular routine.
Yeah, we got back on Sunday with our regular routine.
There you go.
It works now. We got back on Sunday in our regular routine, and got to do our weights and our video, and brought them in and did the things we do on Sunday real quick for about a 2-hour period of just kind of introducing Smith Station and getting the body moving again and functioning. And then on Monday we went back to work with our normal routine, Monday, Tuesday, and then today. And I thought the week's been a good week of practice. We've gotten some guys back that have not played in a while. DJ Rios and Christian Allen both have gotten back now, and they've been out basically. Christian Allen's been out the whole year, and then DJ went out, I guess, somewhere during the Hoover game. I'm not sure first, second half, but he went out. So, we got everybody back, and Monte Spivey, he's been out with a little wrist injury also. We've gotten him back, and so there's, we've got everybody, pretty much healthy and pretty much ready to go, and we've had a real good week of practice. We haven't really overplayed it. The one thing I will say is, our guys kind of understand now, rivalries or playoff games or whatever, it really don't matter. A game's a game. We approach every week, and I try to get everything instilled from the coaches down. That we're going to keep our attitudes down. We're going to keep our mindset down, and we're just going to go to work and get the work done. And all the hype for the game, that's for fans. And we're gonna try to show up Friday night, and we'll be ready to go and try to perform at the fastest level, most physical level we can play at.
Coach, I know you got a chance to look at them last week. What's Smith Station look like? I mean,
hey, they're up front, they really play hard, both sides of the ball, on offense and defensive line. They're not quite as big as some of the teams we played, but they've got some really good, talented defensive ends, and up front they got some guys that play hard. I mean, they may not be Division I or college type looking guys, but they play really hard and they scrap you and get after you. And I think their quarterback's a scrappy guy that's kind of moved around. He was at Russell County last year and he moved in, and he's given them some leadership there, and he makes some good plays. He does a lot of good things as the night goes on. So. They've got a good wide receiver in number 13. He's a tall, long receiver that they seem to like to throw it up to. And, they got the Clanton kid outside that Will Clanton, I think's his name, who's about a 2-year starter for him or something, 3-year starter, who's made some good plays over the last few years for him. And he's a very athletic kid also. And then just a hard-nosed running back. Defensively in the secondary, they got some active safeties that really like to play the run well. And, they got 2 corners at number 6 and number 3 that play really hard. So, I mean, they've got a solid football team. They've been, in their 2 losses, their last 2 losses to Robert E. Lee, I guess, and JD, they've been in the game really at halftime and still in the ball game, and a chance to win late, and, made a few mistakes. And, the other teams took advantage of those mistakes. JD, which was picked to be one of the front runners in our region, had to score with about 1:20 to go or something to take the lead. Smith Station had the lead up until the last few minutes, and I mean the lead the whole game until the last few minutes of the game. So they are a team that is hungry for a win. They play really hard, and they're a well-coached football team. Coach Fawcett's doing a real good job over there, getting in there his first year, and they're performing well. And I'm going to say this: the last 2 years that I've been here, when I played Smiths, I watch them on film, I see one thing, and then I get a whole different team when they show up to play us on that Friday night. I mean, they play extremely hard, and they make plays, and they do a lot of good things. It's a big ball game for them, and they'll have a lot of excitement. So, again, we're going to have to be really prepared and play well in all phases to come out with a win Friday night.
Well, with that being said, how will it affect us being off last week with open day?
Well, you hope as a coach none at all. We've tried to keep the rhythm going. I mean, that's the one thing that you don't want to lose is your timing when you have an off week. The timing of your quarterbacks or running backs or your quarterbacks or wide receivers, your fronts on your blitzes and stunts, the things that they do. You just don't want to lose that aspect of it, and it that's an area that's hard to get in practice. You got to get that in game speed. But, I think after the 3 first games we had, I think a little break was needed for about what we're about to go through because we got some really big ball games on the horizon. And, we've got 6 weeks, counting this week, that'll be one after another. And, it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be physical. And I think having that little week refreshed us a little bit. And we still were able to practice against each other and scrimmage against each other and do some things last week. We didn't just take the whole week off. We were physical for 2 days. That's hitting of the week. And then we went light 2 other days with just helmets on. So, we main thing is we didn't want to lose our physical contact of the game, but at the same time we wanted to refresh our bodies. And then also we wanted to make sure that that we were able to keep the timing down, as I said earlier, on all phases, from stunts and blitzes to handoffs to receivers to the secondary rolling and whatever you got to do. Those things are things that you get week by week when you play in ball games. And when you sit one out, sometimes it tends to put you off a week and you're a little slow getting back. So until we kick the game off, as a coach, you don't really know how the off week's going to affect you. You hope you come out of it fresh and you come out of it faster than you were and even more physical. So, that remains to be seen, and we'll find out, come to Friday night.
Yeah, that's a good point, Coach. Well, we're going to step aside for a 2-minute break. When we return, we're going to continue the conversation about rivalries. I know you've touched on that already, but I want to pose a few questions about rivalries in general to you on the other side of this break. You're listening to Red Devil Football, Magic 101.3.
I guess sometimes things just happen. Devastating things. It's got nothing to do with fairness. Bam, your whole world changes in an instant. And you never see it coming. That's what happened to me the day my mother had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to learn the signs of a stroke fast. F-A-S-T.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke. F-A-S-T. Fast.
Welcome back to the Coach's Show, Magic 101.3 CTV. It's a rivalry week, Backyard Brawl. And Coach, I know you said in the last segment, the Backyard Brawl, the rivalry is for fans to sit around and talk about, kind of pick at each other about, have fun with. It doesn't change your preparation on the field, though. I understand that. Let's talk some op football. Who was your rivals at Op High School? What was the game? Andalusia.
Yeah, that was
You circled that one when the schedule came out.
End of the year game, and Andalusia and Op, when I grew up, was there was a train that ran. The trains were big back in Op in that time, and my senior year, believe it or not, one of the most unique things ever happened. Our booster club and a bunch of parents was able to get somehow or another. They got the train, and they got some. Like cabooses or carts or something that were involved with the train, and they all rode them over to Andalusia, and the tracks were right there by the stadium, and they got off the train when it got over there. I don't know how they worked that out, but it was like a pep rally, all of them riding
That's
over,
awesome.
and it was pretty neat. But back then,
that's high school football right there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think back then, in the 80s, when I played high school, 70s and 80s, I think rivalries were bigger and more community than they are now. I think high school rivalry games it was different. I'm not saying that there's not rivalry games right now, because they are, but at the same time, I believe that for some reason or another, it just seemed like they were just different. I don't know. It was just a little bit different than it is right now, and they used to be fun. Not that they're not fun now, but it was just a different little aspect to it. But I can tell you, after being here for 2 years and this going on the third, without a doubt, this is the one that, this community and Smiths, both circles every year. I told our kids the other day, you're always going to have Opelika and you're always going to have Auburn, but at the end of the day, it's Smiths. And I mean, that's the one that everybody circles.
Well, Coach, we talked about in the first segment the catch that Trey made right before the half a couple of years ago, your first year.
That was unbelievable.
I still don't know how in the world he made that catch.
Tipped that ball was Justin Ross.
Justin Ross,
yep.
Yeah, we
He's
thought
the one
so.
That tipped that ball.
We thought so. Another one, probably, and Frank, I mean, you've seen them all, so I want you to share a story with us, but another one, probably my worst memory of a backyard brawl since I've been broadcasting, and Frankie, I don't remember. I've been doing this 11 or 12 years at Central, but the worst one, hands down, this is the 10th anniversary of it. 2006, we were at Smith Station, and I think there were 2006 penalties thrown
we
at
had
night.
about 2,300 yards in penalties. It was unreal.
I mean, it was.
We got called for offensive pass interference right at the end of the game. It was absolutely a running back coming out of the backfield.
It was a running play.
Yeah, it was a running play.
Pass interference was called. I think it was 36 penalties called that game. Mark talks about it in his article. That was the longest game in the history of high school football, and you couldn't enjoy the game for all the stoppages with the flags.
Yeah, it was confusing. But, I got some great memories of that. Golly, I can remember Coach Zach Berkeley when he scored a touchdown junior and senior year. He was All-State his senior year. Coach Ryan Nelson, he still he's still a villain at Smith Station because he caught about a 40-yard touchdown pass one night, and he broke away about the 20. So when he got to about the 15, nobody was chasing him. He just turned around and shook the ball at their student section in the stands. But we had a lot of fun with him. It's a lot of good, clean competition out there, you know. And, you know,
Tell me about that crowd at Garrett Harrison.
Oh, it was
in 92.
unreal the first year. It was 9,000 plus. It was unreal. And Brent, my baby boy Brent, was 4 years old, and at that time, he didn't go to the ball game with me. He convinced my daddy, who was about 70 years old and blind out of one eye, to take him to McDonald's across the street at 7:30 that night. So you can imagine what it was like trying to drive up there, that thing. But
they actually brought metal bleachers.
Yeah, they
in.
did. They did. Matter of fact, I talked to Coach Trey yesterday morning about it. He said, you know, the first 4 or 5 years we played that thing here every year, and we'd just swap out home and home each year. But then Smith Station got where they got to feeling their Wheaties, I guess, and wanted to take it out there to their place. So, you know, that's where it's been. But it's a good competition, and it's a great rivalry. Luckily, we're about 19-4 against them. So, you know, let's make it 20-4 after Friday night.
Coach, and we were talking about this in the first segment. Smith they're coming in. They don't have a win in the region yet. They desperately need a win this Friday. I just got to believe that's got to just add a little bit more fuel to their fire.
Yeah, we were watching the game with Robert E. Lee last week, and you know, I don't like to cheer one way or another, but I was kind of, you know, hoping Smith would pull it out. You always would rather them pull it out, come into you with a win, than, you know, hungry for a win.
Right.
So you know, and those kids would. You know, I just know a new coach coming in, those kids are going to fight hard to get Coach Fawcett his first win in region, but also be able to say, you know, they captured the first win over Central with him, you know. And,
right.
And there's a lot of firepower in that, because I know my first year here, that was one of the big things, is playing Smiths and wanting to win. And, you know, I mean, it's a big ball game, and it's a ball game that's going to be, you know, won after the first 5 to 6 minutes, because let me tell y'all about a game like this. The first 5 to 6 minutes of the game is all on emotion. I mean, your adrenaline is flying. You know, you've heard the old thing, flight or fight. You know, it kicks in. You know, the male hormones kick in, and everybody's going crazy, and, you know, people play a little bit over their head, and, you know, some people, you know, play a little bit too tight in games like this. So, you know, we're just going to try to be relaxed, and like you can tell today, we don't try to build one game up more than another. You know, the rivalry for us is the fans. You know, we try to let the fans have the rivalry.
That's fine.
We have a job to do, and we talk about this at homecoming also. You know, the festivities and all the hoopla around the game and all that is for the people that are watching. You know, we have a job to do, and that's go win the game, you know, because you know, it's a rivalry, yes, but you can't enjoy that rivalry if we don't go take care of it and we don't get the win. So I try to make our guys understand that, you know, we're going to approach this like we do any other game, like a playoff game, and we're going to go try to be 1-0. You know, our motto right now in our locker room we started this week is the rest of the year we want to be 1-0. So I told them, too, in a talk we had on Monday or Tuesday, you know, this is our state championship right now. So we're going to go win the state championship this Friday night. And then we'll worry about next week. You know, every week to us has to be a state championship. Every week to us has to be an opportunity to be 1-0. And if we do that, that's all we can ask of. We can't look ahead. We can't look behind. So we'll see where we're at from there, and we'll go and play the game. But, you know, I think our kids, they understand it. You know, they'll get excited when we get out there at the game. But right now, a lot of our kids on our team, too, that we battle a little bit, and we don't want to talk about it much, is just we've had success over Smiths over the last few years. Our younger kids coming in have been really successful over them. You know, our varsity 2 teams have not lost to them that I know of. So, you know, I mean, to them, you know, it's just a football game, and we've got to go play it. You know, for Smiths, it's a rivalry and it's a season maker. That's the way I tell our kids all the time. You know, Smiths could win one more game the rest of the year. I know they wouldn't admit this, but I can tell you, a lot of their fans, if they could walk around wearing T-shirts saying that they beat Central, that'd make their whole year. You know, it wouldn't matter. So we do tell our kids those things, and we make them understand that whatever happens Friday night, you're going to have to live with it the rest of your life. And, you know, Coach Wicker gave a talk to him the other day. He said he still remembers, I guess it was 2006 or sometime, whenever they beat us, he says he still goes out that way and sees people wearing T-shirts that say that and say the score still today. And he said, he was talking about that. So, we've got to just go take care of business and play a solid game and, let rivalries be rivalries, but, keep your emotions within the game and play hard and execute and try to get out of there with a win, Well,
Coach, I was talking to Jason earlier before you got here. The only game this year we're going to play on grass in the regular season.
Yep.
Do you expect to slow us down a lot out there on grass?
I don't.
I'm sure they probably hadn't let the cows and the goats graze this week. Now it's going to be up around the ankles.
Well, they didn't play at home last week, so I don't know how the field looks. And on film, it looked pretty good from the first part of the year. I didn't see any problem with the field or anything else. You can't control that. We'll just show up, we'll play. And, here's the thing, Frankie, I always try to go with that. We got to handle the things that we can control, and whatever the field is or whatever, we can't control it. The thing I like to say is they have to play on the same field we play on. So, there's no excuses to what happens. We practice on grass also. We don't not ever not get on grass. If people are wondering that, our practice field at the high school is grass. So, we were on it today. We were on grass today twice.
We wear the same cleats, grass and
we
turf.
do. We wear a molded cleat. We don't wear screw ends. A lot of people sometimes, if it's real muddy and messy, will get the extra long screw ends maybe. But most of the kids nowadays wear molded cleats, and that's what we wear. So, and they'll be wearing the same shoes. So again, there won't be any difference in that.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time tonight. We're going to step aside for a 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Cody Flournoy, who's experienced this rivalry from both sides of the field, kind of a unique perspective. We'll get that from Coach Flo. And then the last segment, we're going to be joined by one of our players, Damon Jones, a young man, a sophomore, who's kind of made a big splash in the 2016 season. Good luck this Friday, Coach. And again, thanks for your time. Other side of this 2-minute break, you're listening to Central Football, Magic 101.3. Welcome back to the Coach's Show. We're joined now by Coach Cody Flournoy, who's, Coach, you tell our viewers, our listeners, what are your responsibilities as far as coaching these Red Devils?
I've been a part of this staff. This is my second year here. I coach safeties with Coach Hurt. And, I sit in the box on Friday nights, and I look at basically the back end of the defense, make sure we don't have anything to break or bust. I'm the eyes in the sky out there during the game.
Actually, this is your second stint at Central, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my 6th year with Central. And I was looking at, talking about the Smith Station Backyard Brawl, Central stuff. 19 years I've been a part of it, either player or coaching, I think, is what I figured up.
Yeah, and I knew that you could provide a little bit of a unique perspective on this rivalry because you've experienced on both sides of the field. You've experienced as a player and a coach. So, you graduate. You're a Panther graduate.
1998, I graduated. That's right. Last football season was 1997.
I think it's right here in the 97.
Yeah, see it right there.
Again, we're referencing Mark Clark's article in the Citizen of East Alabama. It's a fun read. Again, get your hands on a copy of that. But Mark's seen every one of them, and he recounts a lot of the records in the rivalry and a lot of the big plays. And you were a part of those games, Coach, and on the field and on the sidelines. Just tell us what is your unique perspective of this game when you look at the Backyard Brawl? What are some of the emotions that come up? What are some of the things you think about preparing as a player or as a coach for this game?
There's a lot of emotions, but I remember the first one played when they were still playing them all at Garrett Stadium, and they would have to fence off where you couldn't cross over to either side, and you can only enter on one side, and it was just a lot of tension, and I think there was even some hatred in there. none of the football players really ever got involved in any of the pregame festivity stuff. But I remember some of the student body would chase each other down in cars and stuff like that, throwing eggs and stuff at each other.
Wow.
And that was all before the game on like Thursday nights and stuff. So it was really heated back especially in the early days of it.
Yeah.
Well, it was something that was kind of a long time coming. You know, I guess there'd always been rumblings about the schools playing each other, and then finally in '92 it happened. So I mean, it was kind of like, you know, opening the floodgates for those emotions.
Well, the thing about that was, I think for years and years, Smith Station was a lot smaller school than Central.
Right.
And as the years went on, they began to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And let me say this, it's always, you look at this 24, 25-year history now in this thing, it's always been competitive just about every year. There's been a couple of years where it's been a little lopsided, but for the most part, it's been a very, very competitive ball game. And Cody was talking about his senior year. I mean, that ball game was nip and tuck all the way. I mean, we were fortunate enough, Central was fortunate enough to win, but it was a knuckle buster that night. I guarantee it was a great ball game, and I ain't never saw anybody get hit as much as Cody got hit that night, but he kept on getting right back up.
Well, that's a good story. When I my first coaching job in Alabama was for Coach Nelson here at Central High School. That's one of my first years coaching, and of course your son Matt Bell, he greeted me with some Central Smith Station film, and especially one clip with Garrett Murray, I don't know, tried to take my head off or so. Yeah, it's always in good fun. You know, if you're from this area, you know, everybody knows Auburn, Alabama, but, you know, in Phoenix City, it's Phoenix City Smith Station. You're one of the two. And everybody has a lot of deep roots, and everybody's got a lot of great memories of it. And it's really personal to a lot of people, extremely personal. And, you know, some people get their feelings hurt because I used to go to Smith Station Baptist even when I was coaching at Central. And, you know, people wouldn't talk to me during the week and stuff like that. But, you know, so it means a lot, and it's a legacy. So, like, I told my guys today that when 20 years from now, you're going to remember a couple of games, and this is going to be one of them. You know, I remember we got beat at Smith Station. We got beat in the playoffs by Blunt, and we got beat by Central. You know, and that's the two games that I vividly remember.
Well, talk to us about some of the guys that you're coaching in the 2016 version of the Red Devils. Who are some of the names? What are some of the performances that you've been pleased with so far?
All right. Well, this year the senior defensive leader, Demetrius Petway, number 26. He's a guy that does everything right. He's always in the right position. He plays safety, but we roll him down. He's kind of our strong safety type guy, and plays a lot of man-to-man, but he can do it all. He's doing a really good job for us. He's got one interception so far this year, and, you know, many more to come, we hope. So, but he's a guy that's he played a lot his sophomore year, started last year, and so this is about his third year starting. So he's a guy that we've been leaning on heavily anyway. And then to complement him, we got MJ Woods, and MJ, this is his first year starting. But he's a big physical, strong guy, and he's coming along very nicely. You know, he's averaging about 6 tackles a game and anything. Hadn't got his first pick yet, but it's coming around. Because we play, y'all know we play a lot of 7-on-7s during the summer, and he probably had the most impressive catch all 7-on-7 when we was playing up in Tuscaloosa, and he just one hand grabbed the ball in front of the opponent's bench over there, and that took us to the championship game. So it was really impressive. So,
Cody, who else you got back there that you roll in to give those guys some breathers, or do y'all roll a corner back to safety?
All right, well, what we had to make some adjustments here in the past week or so. We lost a guy, had some family issues, and so he ended up moving out of town. So what we've done is we got a couple of young guys that we're excited about. Especially Devontae Matthews, he's a 10th grader, and he's come along, you know. And then we moved over Maniac, and he's an offensive slot guy, and so we brought him in over because he's got game speed, game experience, and he gives us that speed that we're looking for back there.
Well, you know, we had Demetrius the other day as our player spotlight. Demetrius is a physically big kid. He's a lot bigger than you would actually think. he's going to probably, he said in college that he was fortunate enough to play, he thought he'd play at maybe 215, 220. He's got a big frame. But he's like you said, he's so smart. So he's a quarterback of that secondary. Does he make the calls back there, or?
Yeah, you know, we get our linebackers to make the calls and everything, but like during practice, he's the guy that's he's correcting everybody and making sure everything's right. He's the field general in the back, and that's what we need. That's what you know, a 3-year starter like this guy, that's what he's supposed to do. So we're really proud of him back there. Everybody looks to him. He is the example. He goes hard all the time, every practice, every play. And it's really good because we got a lot of good young talent coming through right now, and he's the guy that we point to and say, look, this is how you need to practice, this is how you need to play, this is how you need to carry yourself on and off the field. So, you know, he'll go play on in college somewhere. I don't know where he's looking at yet. You know, some smaller schools are on him right now, but, you know, we hopefully with a good season, you know, we'll pick up some good mid-major offers probably.
Well, with our opponent tomorrow night, Cody, Coach Flournoy, Coach Dubose said that they had a big 6'5" receiver. That's going to create quite a mismatch for us, isn't it?
It is.
From a size standpoint.
Well, all right, so this is what we did. We talked about this kid. His name's Aaron Brooks, the number 13 Smith Station, and he's just big. And the kid that we compare him to is Jamal Couch.
Wow,
and
that's
so
a big kid then. Yeah,
you know, just his body frame. He's able to run through stalk blocks, and he gets his body in good position. And of course, the fade ball, he's really good at catching. So he's going to be a big challenge for us this week. But you know, fortunately, you know, we got a couple of corners that have a little bit of size themselves. So you know, we're going to try to play some matchups with them, and you know, try to see what we can match up with all night.
And I understand we may be 100% healthy at that position this week.
Yeah, we laughed because this is the first time we actually looked at a nickel package. So we got all 3 corners healthy this week, and so we got a nickel package available. You know, whether we go to it or not, we don't know. But you know, looking at Smith Station, they've got a really good receiving core, probably the best overall receiving core that we'll see this year. But you know, there's better receivers we'll see. Lee High School's got the Ruggs kid. I don't think anybody's as fast or as good as him, but overall, group-wise, this group's got a lot of experience, a lot of size. They're all good, long, and y'all see Friday night that they look the part. You know, and what we're going to rely on is our front 7 getting after it and giving that quarterback a hard time. And that ball's thrown a little late, a little high, a little low, we're going to be there to knock it down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's going to really help. We generate a lot of pressure on their quarterback and make a decision very quickly, you know.
Yeah, and you know, looking at you know, from last year to this year, they're running a different scheme offensively, but you know, our front 7, we're built for speed, and we get after it, and you know, and any time our front 7 is being really active and really good, that makes us so much better, you know, on the back end. And so, you know, we complement each other. So if they're getting sacks, we're getting interceptions, and that's just kind of how it goes.
And it's gone that way all year for us defensively. The defense has been the shining gem of the season so far. The offense kind of kicked it in that Auburn game. We talked in the first segment. I kind of hated that we were off last week. We played so well against Auburn. I want to keep that momentum. But big game to get back into the flow of things this Friday, the rivalry, the Backyard Brawl. Thanks for your time here tonight to share some of your memories and your thoughts and talk about our current crop of Red Devils. And we appreciate your time, and good luck Friday, Coach.
Thanks. I'm excited.
All right, we're going to step aside for our final 2-minute break. When we return, we'll be joined by one of our current Red Devils, Mr. Damon Jones. You're listening to The Coach's Show, live from Mike and Ed's Magic 101.3.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Coaches Show. We are joined now by another one of our coaches, Coach Brandon Averett, and one of his stars the 2016 season, Mr. Damon Jones. Guys, both of you guys, welcome to the show. Damon, let's start with you, man. I want to hear from you. We've talked before on this show. We've talked on Friday nights. You correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, okay? You're a sophomore at Central?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My understanding is you were not slated to be the starter at your position this year. Is that right?
No, sir.
Okay, but then we have some injuries. Of course, we're rotating people in and out anyway. So I think we knew coming in that you were going to get your playing time. We didn't know that you were going to be thrust into this starting position due to the injuries. We've played 3 games. You've got how many interceptions?
4.
4.
Yes, sir.
In the last game, a pick 6.
Yes, sir.
Where we been hiding this guy, Coach? Why wasn't he slated to be the starter from the get-go is what I want to know. I mean, we got 4 picks and a pick 6, last week.
Well, coming into the season, we had some upperclassmen pretty much, in front of him. And due to injuries, we found a diamond in the rough.
Absolutely, Coach. The thing I love about Damon, he's so aggressive, and I think that's from your coach. And I come to practice a lot, and that's one thing that I wanted to commend you on. I have been absolutely impressed with the way you've taught our defensive people to be aggressive. Even if it gets to the point where maybe they get a flag, you want them aggressive, react, don't quit on the play, and that's been so impressive because I think your coaching and practicing during the week has led over into Friday night, and that's the thing that's so impressive about them, their aggressiveness.
Well, we teach all of our guys to come out every day and approach practice like it's your last practice, and come out and approach every day like you're a pro, and I believe if you approach everything in a professional manner and you come out and you're hungry to try to get to the next level, it's easy to coach guys up like that to come out and get the job done.
Damon, this Friday night, we were talking to Coach Flournoy and Coach Dubose. Smith Station has a big receiver, goes about 6'5". How do you anticipate if you get matched up with him, how you going to offset that size against him?
You just got to play the technique and hold the defensive line get there.
How big are you, Damon?
5'10".
5'10", 175 or what?
157.
157 pounds. So you're a little light in the britches, but you're going to go after him, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Coach Flo, we had him on here in the last segment, and he said that he was bragging on how the defensive front is played. He said, they're so fast, and they're getting sacks. When they get sacks, we get picks.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, I just got to tell you while we're on the air and on TV how impressed I am with you, man, stepping up. Definitely not blowing this opportunity, stepping into the role that you found yourself thrust into, and I've just had a great time watching you play so far, man. Now, understand that we're going to be maybe 100% at your position.
Yes, sir.
Coach, man, I don't know. I don't want to have to make that call as to who runs out there for the opening series this Friday.
Well, one thing about Damon Jones is that every day when we approach the field, you can expect 110% out of him. And that's the type of guys that you're looking for on Friday night because, I'm a firm believer in that you're going to practice how you play. And so, every day, Damon one of the first guys on the field for pre-practice and B-swap, where we actually go against the scout team running the opponent's offense. Damon, he came to me actually with what I thought was very impressive. He came to me on the day before yesterday, and he was telling me that, Coach, if any guys from the scout team catch a pass on us, we have a gasher. So for a sophomore to step up on that level, that's tremendous. And I commend Damon. Every day he come out, he's ready to go full speed.
Coach Averett, you played in this rivalry with Smith Station. Is there any extra motivation when you play Smith Station, or is it just the next game up?
Well, you can look at it kind of both ways. It's the next game up, first of all, and they're only a couple miles down the road, so, it's the Backyard Brawl, so, we going in to carry the title until the next year. So, by playing Smith Station, I know plenty of those guys from out that way, and, they're always talking about what they're going to do and what they're they're going to do. And so, our job is to go out and just get the job done to try to get to the big goal, which is the state championship.
Absolutely. Damon, in the last game against Auburn, on your pick six, looked like the receiver cut out and you read the ball.
Yes, sir.
But you got some pretty good blocks going on that sideline, did you? I know I saw Markel lay somebody out maybe once or twice. Did you have any doubt when you caught the ball you was going to get in the end zone?
No, sir. I just followed my teammates into the end zone.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing a great job, and we've been awful impressed with you. We hope you just keep it up.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, man. You got a good coach right here to follow his example. And he played like an absolute animal on the field when he was at Central High School. And I had the privilege, and I'll say privilege, of having him in my classroom when we were at South Girard. He got it done in there too, man, and it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He was a polite, well-mannered young man in the classroom, and then he was a beast on that field.
Damon,
so, that's a good example.
I remember when Coach Averett played, he returned punts. He caught one night against Northview, and, it was a streak down that sideline. And I said, he's so quick, he can cut the lights off in his bedroom and get in the bed before it gets dark. He could really get after it, I guarantee you. He could really play.
Well, guys, thank you for your time here tonight. Big week for us, Backyard Brawls, the 25th anniversary, man. All right, looking at this article, we've talked about this several times. A guy named Mark Clark. I don't know if you've had the privilege of meeting Mr. Clark, but he's been covering Central football since before I was born, maybe. I don't know. But definitely all of your life. But he's got the history of the brawl right here. One thing you can always be able to say, man, is you played in the 25th edition of this game, and he's got a list of some of the stats here, some of the records from the series. Your name could be in this thing this time next year, man. So go out there and give it your all. Just keep doing what you've been doing, because you've been very impressive so far.
Yes, sir.
All right. Again, thank y'all for your time.
Fellas. We're
going to wrap things up here. I do want to remind everybody, thank y'all. I do want to remind everybody watching, everybody on the radio, listening at home, that the brawl is this Friday. It is at Smith Station. Thanks, guys. It is at Smith Station. They've put a cap of 4,000 tickets on the venue. That's by Fire Marshal's code. 1,500 of those have been allotted to Central. We've had them at the high school all week long, and we've been selling those, and we've been selling them pretty well. The principal, Mr. Tommy Vickers, told me before we came on the air tonight that we've probably got maybe 200 left at the school. Save yourself some time Friday. Save yourself some time standing in a ticket line only to get up there and be told they're sold out. Stop by the school tomorrow. Just go in the front office. They'll be glad to sell you a ticket. They're $7 a piece, and then you can join us at Smith Station this Friday. Kickoff is set for 8. We'll be on the air for the pregame show at 7 on Magic 1013, but it's the 25th version of the Backyard Brawl. If you're from this area, like Coach Flo said, you're one side or the other, and there won't be a better place to be around these parts this Friday than in Smith Station watching the Red Devils and the Panthers play ball. So, Frank, anything before we get out tonight?
No, just invite everybody out Friday night. If you unfortunately you can't come or can't get a ticket, tune us in on the radio, and we'll try to give you the best description we can of the game, and hopefully we'll bring back that Backyard Brawl trophy with us. It's sort of got a permanent, I think Mr. Flippo's building is a permanent home for that thing at school in our trophy case. I wish we could just keep it there, to be honest.
Well, the trophy will be at the field this Friday. I hope you'll be in the stands watching our Red Devils. For Coach Dubose, for our coaching staff, for Damon Jones, I'm glad he was able to join us here tonight.
Great kid.
Frankie Bell, this is Jason Sasser saying you've been running with the Devils on Magic 1013.